quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Everybody, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, episode 87. My name is Lars Casteen. I'm the game magistrate today, and before I introduce anyone else, I just want to tell a little story. Sometimes you see things out in the world, and you don't know what you're seeing. You see something, you have a question. Why am I seeing this? Am I actually seeing this? Are my eyes deceiving me? Is there some untold truth happening in the world that I don't know about? Last night, I was walking my dog, and I walked down the block, and I saw a woman. My building has a fence around it. She was grabbing the fence and supporting her entire weight on the fence so that she could stomp something over and over again, violently stomping the ground, stomping it over and over. I was like, what's happening? Is something attacking her? What is going on? What is she stomping? Is she safe? I got up to her. She was stomping a bagel. She had a bagel on the ground, stomping it repeatedly, and I questioned everything I knew about reality. Why was this woman stomping a bagel?
It was a bad bagel, and it deserved to be punished.
It must have been. I wanted to ask a question so badly, but I was also afraid for my life. Let's meet everybody else here for today's podcast. Robin Lange is here.
When bagels are bad, I just throw them to the pigeons.
Well, maybe she was softening them up for the pigeons. Maybe the pigeons had complained. Zoe Chernicoff is here as well.
Hello. Did it have like a smear or a spread on it, or was it plain?
I think it was an unsplit, a whole everything bagel.
Oh wow. Maybe she hates sesame.
I mean, maybe she wanted to throw eggs out of rage, but there were no eggs nearby, so she stomped a bagel.
Maybe it's a regional thing. You know, I've only lived in Queens now for 5 years. Maybe there's like
Who can say? Yeah.
Who can say? David, the Tin Man Chernicoff, is here as well.
Once in college, while I was walking to Zoe's dorm room, a fried bone-on breast of chicken fell from the sky at an angle that was just there was no slant to it. It was just straight from just pure zenith.
Manna from heaven?
About 25 feet in front of me. It fell.
Oh, in front of you?
Yes, like as I was walking, it fell in front of me and it bounced. And it was in an area where there were no trees or buildings nearby. Like there was no physical explanation for what happened to me. I can still see it in every vivid detail.
David, how do you feel about Robin's suggestion that this is manna from heaven?
Well, it tasted okay.
I was going to say, did you eat it? Yes. Like when I found a fully wrapped square of cheese that on the side of the road once in grad school.
And our Matt Humphreys is here. And our Matt Humphreys is here as well.
Hey, how's it going? I have never found anyone interfering with or spontaneous gifts of food appearing before me. And my world feels a little less magical now. I'm going to be real.
Yeah.
Little empty.
Street cheese, it was great.
Was it good? Was it tasty?
It was a perfectly lovely square of Kerrygold cheese.
Okay.
I was a grad student in England. I was super broke. Cheese was expensive. My boyfriend at the time mocked me incessantly for it. And I was like, there's no holes in this package. This is perfectly wrapped and sealed. And I'm having cheese on toast for dinner.
No, this is like that parable of like the man drowning in the flood and clinging to the roof of their building, and then a raft comes by and they say, no, God will take care of me. Then a helicopter comes by and they say, no, God will take care of me. And then in heaven, He talks to God. He says, "Why didn't you save me?" And God's like, "I sent the raft and I sent the helicopter to save you."
I was sent cheese.
Yeah, the universe sent you cheese at the time when you needed it most.
I'm having a really funny reaction that when I parse makes no sense, but that there seems to me to be a purity to the chicken falling from the sky that finding something on the ground does. Like the cheese, I was like,
That's
ooh. But like, honestly, the chicken coming from the sky is probably someone who like up in a dorm or something was like, oh, yuck or whatever, right? Like that's probably a worse sign.
And
It's
it
more
wasn't
likely-
wrapped.
I can't describe to you how there was nothing nearby. I mean, it was an open area for like, I don't know, 75 feet on either direction. Like the amount of, if it had been thrown from any building nearby, it would have had to have been thrown like 500 feet in the air in order to come down so perfectly straight. Anyway, to be clear, I did not eat it because it was not wrapped.
Right.
I picked it up, took it inside, wrapped it, and then I put it back on the side.
right,
Okay.
so
Of the
that someone
package.
else could
Nice.
enjoy
Would
it.
feel safe to eat it.
Considerate. Yeah. Okay, David, I have one question, and this is a weird reaction too.
Yeah.
You said it was bone-in chicken?
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, it was a
wait.
it was a piece of fried chicken, not a cutlet, is what I'm trying to say.
Armet, why does the presence of the bone from this sky chicken blow your mind more than a filleted chicken would have?
I don't know, but it does.
You seem genuinely upset right now.
No, I'm like,
Are you okay?
it just seems like it's just bone-in chicken is like that's someone who's making a culinary attempt at something, you know? Like it's not a
Or they went to Popeyes?
or they went, wait, Popeyes doesn't
Did
have
they do
bone-in.
bone-in chicken?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
sure they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do?
Fried chicken,
Oh.
you get a
You
drumstick.
get it with the bone, get it without the bone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible, David? Was there an aircraft of any kind nearby? Did you check the skies?
Oh,
Is
this
it
is the
possible
most
this-
upsetting possibility of all.
Was this helicopter chicken?
Well, I looked up enough.
Of course, that's smart. That was my first question: is did you look up?
Yeah. It was
Okay,
it was
good.
probably one of the 15 or 20 first things that I did after this happened.
Smart.
I don't recall seeing any sort of aircraft in the area. I think I would remember that. Because I remember everything else about this. so
Yeah.
vividly.
So wait, do you remember him getting to your dorm room and explaining this after the event?
Yeah, that's a question for you, Zoe.
I do remember. No, I actually do remember. It's
Oh, this is like Rashomon. We're gonna get the other side of this narrative.
well, no,
Well, yeah,
so,
because I was so shaken that I immediately asked her to marry me. I was like, there's no time to
right,
waste
that
on
was
this.
it.
Yeah.
That was that chicken brought us together. No, I remember this was not that far into us dating. Like,
That's right. So it was like 2-3 years ago.
yeah. And I think when you were recounting this, I was remembering it, and I absolutely believed you when you told me, but also just, I don't want to say didn't find it that surprising, but I feel like it speaks to like one's college outset mindset that you're just like, oh, yeah, okay, like,
Well, sure. Sometimes chicken's gonna just fall from the sky, right?
right, like you can't, like, I don't know, you just like, you're like, yeah, all right.
That's interesting. It didn't surprise me that much, not because of college, but because of me. It feels like the kind of thing that happens to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I do. Yep.
Well, I'm sorry / happy that happened. And if anybody,
Thanks, man.
here's what I'm gonna say. Listener, if you have any idea, if you have any theories that you want to bounce off of David for, like, could this have been the cause of the chicken? Could that have been the cause of the chicken?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to open this up for a little bit of conversation, because it feels like we've exhausted all possible avenues.
Just find the chicken channel on our Discord.
Just find, go to the Discord channel, go to the the Discord server, go to the Sky Chicken channel.
Sky Chicken
and
channel.
Should
Should we
your-
open up the
that
Sky
now.
Chicken channel now, but not?
Yeah,
not
let's do that.
explain it?
I'm gonna do that
I mean,
on the
Hoot
Discord.
and Sky Chicken kind of sound similar.
Okay, I'm gonna do Sky Chicken.
They're either enemies or the best of friends.
If you have any information about the origin or meaning of the Sky Chicken, please help. It's
Okay,
been,
are-
it's been so
the
long,
rum-
and I've been just twisting in mystery the whole time.
Our Discord server now has a channel on it called Sky Chicken. Go ahead and share your theories there. You can find the link for the Discord at www.tabletopgold.com. And maybe that's enough of that for now. Let's move on. But before we do that, why don't we talk about reviews? The support that we get from people every week is one of my favorite things about doing this show. I love playing the game. I love doing a podcast, but I love hearing from people that are enjoying the show, and I love seeing these reviews. So I want to, as we do every week, let's highlight one of them. This is a review that came in on Apple Podcasts from Marshall Hark. They say a number of nice things. They say, like, most of the way caught up. If you're looking for a fun show, this is the one. But then they include, as one extra comment at the end, P.S. Lars, you should totally continue the Galton accents.
Oh.
So that's
right.
one vote in favor of bad
Oui.
French accents.
I love it.
Maybe 400 votes against it, but this is how
Teach the
comebacks
controversy.
happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
Je suis Beffrey.
Je suis Beffrey. So thank you so much,
Hashtag.
Marshall Hark, for supporting hashtag. Okay, let's start another Discord channel. And thank you so much, Marshall Hark, for that and the support that helps us out. Like, that helps us get ahead on the algorithm. It helps put the show in front of more people's eyes and helps spread the word. And that's kind of the only way that we have to do that. So I deeply appreciate it. And that's all that I have to say about that right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's that and the
Thank you.
billboards that we've been buying.
Is that where all my money is going? Is that why my checking account is?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I
Constantly
have
empty?
been buying billboards in major metropolitan areas.
Oh.
Basically willy-nilly. But I always realize partway through the billboard, I can't actually afford the whole thing because your checking account has been depleted. So we only get a couple of the panels, and I'm not sure that folks know who we are or what we stand
all
for.
they see is Tago.
It just says
Tatoga.
Tago. They don't know what Tago is.
Tabgo. Yeah.
Tabgo.
Well, if
Tabgo.
you've seen those, that's what that is. So thanks, Zoe. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
Thank you. Hey, what do you say we get into our game? The mystery of Dorianna Menhemez's illness continues getting stranger. After a night of adventuring, you discovered that the large red ruby you had recovered from one of Dorianna's toys was missing from your pack, and you've been hunting for clues ever since. That hunt has culminated in her bedroom. Among the playthings of the mayor's precocious teenage daughter, you've found it. A flawless red ruby has fallen from her dollhouse bed and landed with a thud on the hardwood floor. And we're going to pick up right from that moment. In the seconds preceding the point where we're picking up from, Trill has just cast Detect Magic, seen this dollhouse bed flare to life with this brilliant magical aura, and Mag has cracked this bed open as Norman is attempting to distract Dorianna. The mayor is running across the room. It's this chaotic moment of crisis here in Dorianna's beautifully appointed bedroom with windows overlooking the town of Otari. So the last thing you have heard is clunk as it falls heavily to the ground, and you find yourself looking once more at a 4 or 5 inch long, flawless red ruby. What do you do?
Oh, Trill immediately, her jaw hangs open and she looks at us thinking,
What the? How? Why?
Mag reaches into her crafter's tools, pulls out a pair of tongs, and she uses them to pick the ruby up and hold it aloft so everyone can get a better look without anyone needing to touch it.
The mayor is upset right now. He turns to you and he says, Now, you told me you had taken that thing, and I saw you, and how is it back here? What, like, he's kind of lashing out. He's kind of flustered, upset. He's trying to protect his daughter, and he's looking angrily at everybody.
Mr. Mayor, I can assure you, we came looking because just today we put the ruby away safe. I mean, she's got an organizational system like no one's ever seen. And, I even went in the bag and I can tell you it wasn't under R for ruby. It wasn't under G for stemstone. It wasn't under D for demonic.
Listen, I don't need to know where you thought you put it. Why is it here? Why don't you have it anymore?
I think that stone is bad news, sir. I think it's got a mind of its own.
That, or someone has magically caused it to return to Dorianna? Is there some reason she would be targeted by denizens of Lange?
Dorianna, have you spoken with anyone unfamiliar, anyone not from school, besides from your parents and us recently?
No, I haven't been going out all that much. Daddy's been keeping me at home. I don't think well, there was the event yesterday. I suppose I said hello to some people.
But before that...
Yeah, and the mayor's like, no, you've been having the nightmares for that doesn't... He sort of tries to shush her. He's like, she's on the wrong track. He's sort of shutting her down a little bit.
And in the nightmares, what happens there? Do you see the stone? Does someone bring it to you? Is there someone strange?
I've never seen that stone before in my life. Then the nightmares, they're all kinds of different things. I'm being crushed by a wave, and I'm drowning, and then he comes and he saves me.
The Motley Man.
Yeah, yes.
The Motley Man?
That's right, the Motley Man.
Do you know the Motley Man?
Okay, you've done this joke already. This is well-trod territory, guys.
I don't know.
I'm having nightmares. How dare you make light of
the
my...
thing with the joke that depends on repetition.
Yeah, there's still some juice in this grapefruit.
It'll pay off later on, I assure you.
She says, in another dream, I'm being chased by wild dogs, and then he comes in and saves me. I'm falling from a great height, and he has wings, and he sweeps down and carries me away.
So in each of these dreams, you're finding yourself in peril, and the Motley Man is the one who offers you succor.
I only sort of know what that word means, but yes.
It's not as dirty as it sounds.
Yeah, not dirty at all, as it turns out. It's just means comfort. I probably should have used that instead rather than a weird word like that.
I appreciated expansive vocabulary in this context. It just...
And the mayor's like, now, Dorianna, we have to be accepting of people from all kinds of different cultures. In Ustalav, they use different words than we use here. And our town is open to people from all kinds of walks of life.
That's very generous of you, Mr. Mayor. I wonder if this is somehow an attempt, the dreams, to get you to trust the Motley Man. Which makes me worry perhaps you should not.
Well, what am I supposed to do then? Just get killed by dogs, get drowned, fall to my death?
Well, it's just dreams.
I don't know. They don't feel like dreams. No, I guess you're right.
Perhaps we ought to...
They are just dreams.
Speak to a wizard or someone with a knowledge of arcane oracle. Or Trill, do you know anything about the magic in dreams?
Well,
I don't know. Do I?
You've got an occult score of plus a
Seems
bunch.
like I might. Maybe I should do an occultism check.
I think it's worth a shot.
Blind?
Sure, yeah. Give me a blind occultism check as Trill is trying to determine what she knows about the magic of dreams, basically.
Mag is not going to aid this one.
Okay.
I can aid it.
That sounds like a better plan.
Trill, knows enough as Ao and Trill sort of consult with each other about the occult. Trill knows enough to get the sense that when you're talking about Lange, you know, this plane of nightmares beyond the dimension of dreams, like you only have a vague sense really of what that means. Like you don't have a concept of this location as a physical place that you could go to. But given the presence of this ruby, given what you know about the plane of Lange from Fidget, it seems plausible to you that her dreams could be manipulated through a sort of combination of mental manipulation, but also like planar manipulation. When she's dreaming, she's going to a place, and this denizen of Lange is potentially meeting her in the place where dreams happen. And you're able to consider that, look at the ruby, and I think Trill maybe gets the sense that the ruby is this key that allows her dreams to be invaded by whomever this motley man is.
Portal or whatever.
Is there a way then to like dream alongside her, to enter her dreams with her, to protect her? Or to try and help her disconnect from this?
And perhaps within that dream, we could enter then another layer of the dream, and so time would become dilated.
But first, we need to get a top. We need to get a spinning top.
I was going to say, Norman is sitting in the corner just spinning a top.
You know, that's interesting that you two suggest that, because I was just thinking about whether we could smash it with a hammer.
Just break the ruby.
So it sounds like there are two things that we need to talk about. Breaking the ruby with a hammer and Trill's understanding of dream magic. There is a spell called Dream Message that Trill is aware of that lets you send a message to somebody's dream once you've met them in person. But the idea of magic that lets you fully be consumed into somebody's dream is well beyond the capacity of anybody that you've ever met. This is level 8 spell casting stuff.
Oh, wow.
It's
not to put too fine a point on it.
Not to put too fine a point of it, but to somebody with your expertise with magic and with dreams, this is something that is unfathomably difficult.
I gotta wait at least 2 more levels of the Abomination vaults.
That's right. No, you'll never. I mean, not okay. Listen,
He's
Trill
a level
doesn't know
8.
this. No, but it's a level 8 spell. You're gonna get that at level 15,
16.
baby.
Oh
15.
yeah. Level 8 spell, not level 8 spellcaster.
So this is like flights of absolute fancy. This is the sort of magic that you've heard rumors about. It's something that would strike Trill
I've
as
had to study
impossible.
for years.
Right.
Dorianna, do you yourself have any magical ability, inherent or learned by any chance?
No, I don't think so. And if anybody would like to do an sense motive on that, you could give me a blind perception check.
I'll sense motive on that.
I think Vadim will too, if that's all right.
And so Mag and Vadim are trying to read her saying, no, I don't think so. And Mag has a moment where she flashes back to a moment in time when she was working at the schoolhouse where Dorianna was taking classes. Dorianna was maybe 14 years old at the time. And Mag was doing, David, tell me if I'm off base on any of that. Mag was there doing like manual labor, like repairing something inside the classroom, maybe fixing up a window, lifting boxes around.
Yeah.
And as Dorianna says that she thinks she doesn't have any particular magical proclivities, Mag remembers a moment when Dorianna, as Mag was doing work at the Inkelholtz schoolhouse, Dorianna said something hurtful to Mag. And that's something that we've been sort of beating around the bush on during our game a little bit. But Dorianna said something that cut Mag super, super deeply and wounded Mag personally. And David, what do you think that was? Because we've sort of been talking about this offline a little bit.
Dorianna said something to her friends in Mag's presence.
Right.
About how, along the order of there are two kinds of people in the world, or like there are two kinds of people in a schoolhouse. Some who are there to learn, and because they have intelligence, they have that capability, and some who lack it, and so they're only there to serve.
Right. So Dorianna's like maybe says publicly in the room, like there are two kinds of people in this world, as she's interrupting Alamora Inkelholtz's lesson. Like people who are here to learn about the Radiant Siege, and people who are here to fix the door.
Exactly. She's fixing the door, and so she does something noisy, makes a sudden noise and interrupts the lesson. And
she's
it
just
kind of
swinging
brings
a squeaky hinge over and over again.
a tiny little hammer.
Yeah, maybe a hammer falls to the ground.
Right.
In an echo of this Lange ruby falling to the ground here in this room. And that snaps Mag back into this moment of reverie.
Yeah.
And everybody sitting around Dorianna laughs at Mag. And Mag is very deeply hurt by this. This is a wound that Mag has been nursing for a while.
Yeah, it's not the only time in Mag's life. In fact, it's not the only time in that very schoolhouse that Mag's intelligence has been insulted, and that Mag has been assumed to be stupid because she's strong, because she's big.
So as Mag is looking at the minutia of Dorianna's lips, as she's saying, "No, I don't think so," she's brought back to this moment where Dorianna said something so pointed, so precise, and so targeted to hurt Mag, that Mag is struck by a moment of perhaps Dorianna has a level of intuition and insight into the people around her that is much more than meets the eye.
I think Mag, both because of her careful and suspicious nature, and because she has a negative history and view of Dorianna, would choose in this moment to press Dorianna on the point, to the point of intimidation. So Mag's face changes subtly. She lowers the ruby in the tongs by maybe 3 or 4 inches, and she fixes Dorianna with an intimidating look. And while locking eyes with her, Mag's eyes flash red for just a moment. And she says, "Are you sure, Dorianna? It's important that you're sure." And she presses the point with a little extra intimidation. And I think I want Mag to try and intimidate Dorianna, catch her off guard. And if it doesn't work, hey, we'll scare her. Not the worst thing. She's
You're trying to coerce an answer out of her.
Yes, coerce an answer out of her. Yeah, I think that's right.
Can Norman assist? He comes behind and starts giving her a slightly too aggressive shoulder rub. Just take a deep breath, sweetie. See what you remember.
All right, that's an 18 on the die for a 31. I guess it should be a 30 because Mag is not going to be wearing her demon mask here in Dorianna's bedroom.
And that's a natural 20 to assist. Norman really knows where the pressure points are on the back.
So I guess that's a 32 to scare the daylights out of this poor girl.
32. And so she's scared. She starts crying and she says, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. And the mayor bolts across the room and puts his hand on Mag, trying to shove her out of the way, but fails to because Mag is so big.
I imagine that just makes the mayor slide backwards slightly.
Yeah, we're on this hardwood floor. He sort of slips and he falls and he bonks his head on the floor. And he sits up on his knees, holding his brow, which has just hit the floor really hard. And he says, this isn't helping. You cannot talk to my daughter that way. And Dorianna is crying, tears running down her face right now.
Vadim looks at all this, half grins and says, I guess that makes me a good cop. And he sort of squats down on his hands and knees and says, Mr. Mayor, please, I think we're getting to something here. Mag, why did you push on that, if I may ask? It's all right, Dorianna. We're not going to hurt you. Mag?
So the mayor, I want to get that answer from Mag in just a second. But the mayor and Dorianna are both like pretty upset right now. So I want to get a diplomacy check from Vadim to try to make an impression on them to calm them down.
Oh, geez, this is not going to go well.
Says Norman. Shh. Norman can aid in that too.
I'm untrained in diplomacy. What does that mean?
So maybe Norman would recognize that Vadim needs a little help and would do the check himself.
Yeah.
Yes. That's our good cops. You just
terrible at it. Norman was just aiding with the intimidation and is now going to aid with the diplomacy. So we have a
Doesn't
good cop,
it
a bad
feel
cop,
right in your
and
heart?
Norman just flip flops.
Norman is ambicop.
Yeah, chaos cop.
I love that. Norman is chaos cop.
Yes. That's a 28 on the diplomacy check. And Fraum is in diplomacy mode today, so 29.
Oh.
So magically assisted diplomacy from Norman. I think that anybody who wasn't emotionally invested in this scene would see very clearly how quickly Norman is changing sides on this. Like Norman is getting a lot of cover from the fact that the mayor is freaking out, that Dorianna is terrified, potentially through magical means, that she's not thinking her own way. So to the rest of you, I think you're able to see with clarity how Norman is playing both sides of the field here, but nobody else is able to, as Norman slinks forward and starts echoing what Vadim is saying of trying to calm people down. And it does feel as though the mood in the room de-escalates a little bit.
Let's all just take a deep breath together. All right, ready? In 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4.
Oh, good. You're reading the book I gave you.
The mayor says, "No, you're right. I know you're just trying to help. I'm sorry. It's just this is very hard. This is very hard for me."
So Mag steps down, steps back a little bit, and says, "My apologies, Mayor. Vadim, perhaps you might heal him?"
Certainly. I can... Pharasma, please. He lays his on hands.
The mayor shudders for a moment as this healing energy washes through him, and he relaxes even further.
Here. We'll wrap that. We'll wrap that in a good gauze," says Norman, adding absolutely nothing to the whole experience except for his own ego.
So, David, Mag is not sharing publicly right now this sense that she feels like there's something up with Dorianna's sense of intuition.
Yeah, I think she's going to wait until... If so far it seems like Dorianna is not aware of it, it would only scare her more. And if the mayor is now, alarmed, it doesn't seem like that's helping much. So, not planning to keep it to herself, but not planning to voice it here.
So as this healing energy washes over the mayor, he turns to you, points at the ruby, and says, "Perhaps you ought to take that with you, and I need some time to... I need some time with my daughter, please."
Of course.
And he sort of invites you to leave.
Of course. And perhaps now that we've seen something more of how this strange object behaves, perhaps we'll keep a closer eye on it this time.
And he sort of grits his teeth and he says, "Perhaps you should do that."
As they're heading out, can Vadim make a religion check to see if he's heard of any sort of divine cases of magic where the person who was controlling it or not controlling it, as the case may be, was the source or focus for the magic? Out of character, I'm thinking of people like sorcerers who might not know that they're sorcerers yet, or like, someone with an innate connection to magic that, there's...
Like, could she inadvertently be doing a ritual or casting a spell or something like that?
Or channeling magical force unintentionally, yeah. Instinctively, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the four of you walk out of this room and walk down the stairs, Vadim tries to remember what it is that he can remember. And he got I got the religion check, and he does not have any memory of anything like that.
Yeah. Didn't read anything about that when I was in study at Medic.
Yeah, to Vadim, this seems as though if this is self-inflicted, it's something that he's never seen before or heard of.
His mind is also kind of racing from the lightning coffee. There's also the possibility that Belcora is in some way targeting the descendants of the Rose Guard. Given that she's now become active again after so many years, and that Dorianna Menhem is the one targeted, I wonder, are there any other descendants other than, Carmen Rajani, but good luck finding him.
Well, there's Dorianna, there's Carmen, and no one really knows what happened to Zarmavdian.
Right. Well, I wonder if it's possible that might be part of her revenge. She certainly has knowledge of magics that are far beyond me, but that's not saying a whole lot, frankly.
And Dorianna, she seems to be perhaps roughly the age Belcora was when Belcora struck out on her own. Perhaps a stage of life that has some significance for the sorcerer.
What do you mean? Says Norman, getting weirdly defensive. What, like 16, 17? You think that's a significant age?
I do. It can come with changes.
I'm much older. Like I've been past all that, and obviously you're older too. So, do you feel like you changed that? Like are you so different?
Mag reaches into her pouch and pulls out some of her anti-inflammatory root and offers it to everyone.
Arma, I'm like out of character. I'm really stuck on that idea now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of stuck on the idea now that if Belcora, Vadim would not have any knowledge of this, but having read way too many comic books,
okay,
and specifically, actually, this one I just finished, Alan Moore's Providence, really interesting comic, but in it, there's a line of immortals who achieve immortality by inhabiting. They transfer their consciousness from body to body.
Oh.
And so now, I don't, Vadim would not know this, but this is just like us chatting. Like, maybe Belcora wants to steal away Dorianna and inhabit her as a new,
yeah, sure,
body for her to be incarnate.
An avatar.
And,
right.
Exactly.
She's been trying to get avatars for herself of various kinds. Volok was working on one that he had beta tested on himself. There was the flesh model thing, whatever that was.
That was awful.
Which we burned or dismantled.
Yeah,
we
just spoiled.
Different,
hard to tell effigies or models. Or,
yes,
yeah.
she's trying to incarnate herself in various.
Again, yeah.
Oh, she's been flesh warping. We're wandering around the flesh warp thing. Maybe
somebody has been. Yeah.
Yeah, the flesh warping though she was doing when she was alive as well, when she was fully alive, because she liked having them in the. Watching them fight.
So yeah, sort of like abducting a body via the dream realm to then and
an intelligent young woman.
And with a connection to the Rose Guard. It's interesting.
That's the thing, because this whole book kind of starts with us having to get the relics of the Rose Guard. So I feel like it's all got to come back to the Rose Guard here.
I wonder too.
Where's Haplo?
I know. We need all that Rose Guard lore.
Yeah.
Let's go dig him up in the graveyard and ask him.
Oh, Trill may have a spell for that.
At last. You know what we could do?
Into it.
Let's go back to Gauntlight and fire up Gauntlight and get that to re-raise Haplo. That seems like a good plan, right?
That's smart. We just still really haven't processed what happened there.
I wonder too whether, like, so that all is a line of thinking about why Belcora might be interested in this. We also have Zarmavdian, in theory, kind of running around and possibly at play. Zarmavdian, whether
How long do sorcerers live?
Whether with
Wizards
or
live.
without Belcora, might be interested in the descendants of the Rose Guard as well, if in fact he was a turncoat and he must have had some motive for doing that might apply to descendants of the Rose Guard as well, whatever his grudge might be.
And also, didn't Carmen Rajani's parents face like a really random awful death?
Carmen Rajani's parents were randomly killed on the side of the road by bandits.
Huh.
Was it really random?
Was it really bandits?
Was it really a road?
Was it really a road?
Was it really the side? No.
We cut to Carmen Rajani's parents walking down the road, and they're just chatting about that was what a wonderful show we saw at the theater last week.
Right.
And then suddenly, without
The string
warning,
of pearls falls to the ground.
they're both
Chicken
each of them
cutlet.
just cleaved in two by fried
cutlet
chicken
falls
breasts
to the
falling
ground.
directly from the sky at terminal
Sky
velocity.
chicken conspiracy.
I was going to say, and all because they were looking at that block of cheese on the side of the road. I was actually going to say, I could see
That's
them just saying, God, our son's a real dick. What if we just convinced him we died?
Yeah, and then just whack.
Chicken.
A lot of interesting theories being talked about right now, but I want to give a hero point to one person. And that is Zoe for bringing up the idea of coming to Dorianna's room in the first place to try to find this ruby.
Oh. There you go.
Bravo.
Heck yeah.
I'm honorarily giving it to the sky chicken, but I may want it back.
The sky chicken demands sacrifice.
Pour one out for the sky chicken.
All hail Sky Chicken.
So you step back out onto the road that runs along the cliff surrounding the town of Otari. And it is just around noon on this toil day, the 25th of Desnas.
Do we have the ruby with us?
Yeah, what are you guys doing with the ruby? David, you said that Mag is going to take more care with the ruby. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Or does Mag want to try smash? Smash, 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 smash.
Let's leave aside for a moment the possibility of smashing. I think at minimum, Mag would be thinking along the lines of physically watching the ruby all night long, keeping watch, seeing whether it changes in appearance, seeing if the moment when if what's happening is that it's the same ruby and it's like disappearing and relocating itself somewhere closer to Dorianna, can any understanding of that like physical shift be obtained just by laying eyes on it all night long? Is it more than one ruby? Like that kind of stuff. Rather than sticking it in a bag and forgetting about it, maybe we take turns keeping watch at night and seeing what's going on with it.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Mag takes a moment and with a piece of cord knots together an encasement of some kind around the ruby so that it can then be turned into a necklace. It's like sitting in a loose cord, kind of like meshy pouch thing, gone around a few times, and then offers it to Trill to wear for the day if Trill feels up for it.
Well, I mean, it's not really my color, but yeah, I can handle it.
As it hangs around Trill's neck, it feels heavy. If not physically heavy, the full force of the pain that this thing is potentially inflicting onto Dorianna certainly weighs upon Trill. let's move forward. What do you guys want to do with this open day here in Otari on the 25th of Desnas?
I think we need a crowbar, right? What better time to get a crowbar than while you're babysitting a ruby?
So you walk down south across town as Mag is tying these knots, right? Like this ruby is potentially ready to hang around Trill's neck as you get to the Otari market. And Keelano Lathanar sees you walk up and says, well, it's the heroes of Otari. That's a hell of a ruby.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's like, maybe only a third my size. It's a little big, but, if you're going to go big or go home.
Yes. It looks both physically heavy, but also metaphorically so.
It's kind of like my life. It's a metaphor in all ways.
Well, what can I do for you?
Letty?
Oh, I think we need to get a crowbar, if you have one.
He reaches behind him to a shelf and clonks this crowbar on the counter in front of him, and he says, it's on the house, after what you did for me.
It's very generous of you. Thank you.
And Mag nods to him once.
I've been thinking a lot about those druids since you took care of that situation with that Jal Mesman. It's been hard to reevaluate so much about my life so quickly. But a month here in my head, it's a long time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
I feel you.
We've all been there.
I was thinking, maybe I should try to patch things up with that whirlwind.
That's a lovely idea.
Sometimes I feel like it would be a betrayal of the anger that I held on to for so long. Do you think that makes sense?
Well, sure, but just like this ruby, it's both physically and metaphorically heavy, but I can remove this ruby from my neck and relieve myself of some of the weight. And it's freeing to do so. Now, if you went and dealt with this metaphoric guilt with whirlwind, these metaphoric heavy feelings, you may feel a physical release of weight, just like if I took this necklace off.
You're saying that the consideration I'm giving the rage I held on to for so long is actually a guilt that I'm feeling.
I think so.
It's not actually a betrayal of Isla to talk to the druids. It's actually a betrayal of her memory to not talk to them.
Isla would want you to be happy. She loved you.
She did. Okay. Well, shop's closed.
Thanks for the free stuff.
He reaches his big hand down, pulls down this closed, and starts walking slowly out of town towards the Stone Ring Pond.
Bye, Keelano. Good luck.
That was really lovely what you said there, Trill. I couldn't help but think one of the things you learn as a follower of Pharasma is that you come to accept that all things have to end. Life has death. Anger has its end as well. I think that was a really lovely thing you said.
And not talking to druids as talking to druids, right? Is that where you're going?
I think you nailed it, Norman.
High five.
Vadim high fives Norman.
A guy behind you is standing there with this enormously heavy bag of carrots, and he's just like, well, that's easy for you to say. I've been waiting in line forever.
Ooh, carrots.
Don't mind if I do.
Okay, so what's next, guys?
Norman/AO want to attach the rune from the armor they are wearing, which they are not quite strong enough to wear, onto their regular leather armor. So need Mag's help with that. I think there's some. Is there other attaching folks wanted? Are we gonna make Mag do a bunch of hard work for us?
I don't think. Do I have anything that Trill could use? Could attach to anything?
Wouldn't be the first time.
It feels like the group is sort of on the lookout for runes for armor, for armor, potency runes.
Yeah.
That's like a level of magic that this town doesn't have for
Right,
sale.
I'd have
That's
to
the kind of
order
thing
it.
where if you wanted to buy it, it would be sort of a weak mail order through Galatine Deliveries, through to Absalom, or you just take the trip to Absalom yourself. So you're sort of on the lookout for those. You have this one that Zoe is talking about on the studded leather that could move to regular leather, which Ao and Norman are strong enough to use correctly, unlike the studded leather currently happening. There was another rune that you guys were talking about shifting over, which was a rune for Mag's Warhammer.
For the one-handed weapon.
For the
There's already
one-handed
one on
Warhammer.
the two-hander that's my main squeeze, but for points where I have to go one-handed, yeah, it would be good to have that bonus.
Let's do a little bit of this. Let's roll for this crafting to get a sense of how long this downtime is going to be before we're done here in town. Just to give us a sense of sort of the shape of the rest of this town visit, and then we can fill in everything else, because there's a lot to talk about, it sounds like, with Dorianna and with that investigation. So let's sort of skip forward in time and just come up with the general shape of this town visit by doing those crafting checks.
How many of these do you need?
Sounds like we're starting off with transferring the armor potency rune from the studded leather to the regular leather armor.
Right.
The potency rune is a level 5 rune, which means that the DC for this crafting check is going to be a 20.
Okay.
And there's something I want to say before we do this crafting check. We just got errata for the 4th printing of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition core rulebook, which included a rule clarification stating that you need to have the magical crafting feat in order to do rune transfers. Mag does not have the magical transfer feat, so we are instituting what I like to call a house rule, which is that Mag gets to do it anyway.
Wow.
I like that house. That's a good house rule.
Yeah, it's a really good house rule. As soon as Mag is dead, that house rule goes out the window. Everybody else is going to have to play by the rules. We're in this like sort of weird time right now where this errata came out saying you have to have magical crafting, and there's a book coming out at the time of this recording in a month, the Treasure Vault book, which is going to make crafting better than it is in the current rule set. So at a certain point, like, this new onerous obligation on your feats is going to be offset by better, more useful crafting. But right now we're in this like dead zone of you can't do nothing and there's no point in investing in it anyway. So whatever. We're house ruling. Mag knows enough about runes to do magical crafting to transfer runes. So
all right. Well, if the time comes and we want to retrain, we want to slough off one of the current feats in order to enable this, that seems reasonable once the rules have settled.
Right. So let's get that crafting check as Mag spends 8 hours attempting to transfer this rune.
Well, so I hit the button once by accident. Do you want to use that one?
Let's use that one. That's a 15. You fail at the end of the 25th of Desness. There is no transfer. And again, we're just getting the shape of this. We will backfill the rest of this town stay, but let's move on to another day as Mag tries again.
All right, here is another crafting check. That is a 1 on the die.
All right, let's see what that does.
Yeah, depending on what that does, I might hero point that. Because I have an extra one to use, and I don't want to like bash these materials.
You don't want to destroy everything?
Yeah, like destroy a set of armor and a valuable rune.
I don't see anything that says that a critical failure does anything crazy, so let's just keep it moving. And try one more day as we enter a third day of Mag attempting to
And that's
craft this?
That's an 18. I mean, y'all, at a certain point, we are throwing a lot of days at this.
I got a bunch of people to steal from in town to help you out.
We'll just let that terrifyingly dangerous dungeon just kind of like fester and metastasize for a little while.
Well, there's no point in going unprepared into dangerous situations.
That's true. That's true.
And
That is the sort of logic that would appeal to Mag. And the fourth check is a 12.
All right, let's keep going.
Cool. We may get enough time for Trill to retrain Electric Arc.
No, I'll keep Electric Arc, thanks.
All right, there we go. 5th time's a charm for old Magdaruna.
So at the end of the day, on the 29th of Desnes, Mag finally transfers this rune, as you have spent 5 days in town. The next rune you want to transfer, according to my notes, is a striking rune onto the Warhammer.
I'm guessing that might be a slightly lower DC.
Slightly lower DC indeed. Striking runes are a level 4 rune, which means that this is going to be a DC 19 check.
Well, very slightly lower.
Slightly lower.
could Vadim aid with athletics?
Yeah, like if Vadim were standing nearby doing some jumping jacks, would that help?
Yeah, Vadim can hold it in position, maybe.
Yeah,
right,
that
yeah.
was on the anvil. But
Let's do it.
I like the jumping jacks theory.
Let's get the aid from Vadim on the athletics.
12.
Okay, not much help from Vadim. Let's get that crafting check from Mag.
More crafting.
I just want
Mag.
you to know I love the passage of time.
In the game, right? In real life, it's crippling.
No, yeah, in real life, it's a nightmare that will end in all of our doom.
Lars, that was actually a 16 on the aid check because Vadim has cooperative nature.
Strongly do not care. What did Mag roll on the crafting check?
That's a 24 for Mag. So I think Vadim's mere presence is helping Mag. Mag's blows strike a little more true.
So what that means, it's we're staying in town until the evening or late afternoon of Sunday, the 30th of Desnes.
So I imagine that during this time, especially that at least during that first night, Trill, being small, a small female, I imagine she'd be able to convince the mayor that she's a safe person to keep around Dorianna at night. That Trill would have been the one watching Dorianna's room at that night.
Absolutely makes sense to me as we talk about the night of the 25th of Desnes. So this is the night that you're planning to keep an eye on the Ruby all night as Trill watches Dorianna's bedroom.
Yes, and I think Mag's preference for that would be that either the party would take turns keeping watch while Trill is with Dorianna, the rest of the party would take shifts, or that Mag would just stay up all night. Maybe that's why her crafting's been so terrible.
I love it.
She's sleep deprived from yeah, so that'll be it. So she would want to be somewhere physically nearby, not all the way across town at Dawnflower. So maybe she takes a room at, let's see, maybe
Could she just stay upstairs at Carmen's since he's not there?
Sure.
Could we just take over Carmen's?
That's where she's been doing the crafting, is out in Carmen's old work yard. So yeah, she crashes there, which is nearby. And she settles in for the night with a couple of candles burning, and she's ready to keep a close eye on the ruby.
I think Trill repeatedly casting Detect Magic is going to be fatiguing to Trill and is going to be disruptive to Dorianna because she's trying to sleep theoretically, right?
Well, I don't think Trill's going to be casting it every second.
Okay. So she checks in as the bell tolls, basically.
Yeah. She's there. She's playing some soothing music for Dorianna, soothing her off to sleep, and she just do it on her lute. So she changes up the rhythm every now and then to cast Detect Magic.
And magic is loud enough that Dorianna does jolt awake every time that happens. So it's disruptive, but it's not too bad. Dorianna, at the pace that you're casting the spell, does have the chance to get some rest. And to dream, which is probably the most important part of this. So Mag is staying up, the moon shining into the room above Carmen Rajani's blacksmith shop. Does Mag have the ruby on this like harness necklace, or does she have it on the desk?
No, I think she put it on on like a small stand.
Okay.
A little metal stand that she crafts in her frustration at the end of the day out with a couple of stray pieces of metal so that it's sitting a couple of inches off the floor and a couple of feet in front of her, and she's just going to sort of keep vigil with it all night.
Mag waits all night long watching the ruby, and right around 1:15 in the morning, the ruby just disappears from her sight. She's looking at it 1 minute later. Maybe Mag blinked. Maybe Mag was looking right at it. When things like this happen, when a woman is stomping on a bagel or when a piece of chicken flies out of the sky, you ask yourself questions about what it is you actually saw. But Mag sees this ruby just pop out of existence in front of her.
And the hair on her arms stands up, and her braid begins to glow very faintly red. And, she's not completely shocked by this, but it's still a very affecting thing to just see an object wink out of existence like that. And so she grabs her pack and her gear, and she heads off toward Venomous Manor.
Does Mag feel redeemed at all? Last time Mag was feeling like the putting it in the bag of holding was the great mistake. And I think it's pretty clear to Mag now that that's not, that actually is irrelevant to what happened to this ruby.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I think that would come with some relief.
As a tired Emnala Menhemez opens the door to Menhemez Manor and lets Mag in the front door, I guess along with Vadim and Norman.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trill finishes casting Detect Magic, and one of the pillows lying next to Dorianna flares to life. A magical resonance pouring off of it. And as you cut the pillow open, the ruby falls out one more time.
What is Dorianna doing?
She's asleep.
So this time Detect Magic did not wake her up.
She woke up for a second.
Oh, okay. Does she have some rapid eye movement, REM going? Can I tell
Absolutely.
that she's dreaming?
Yes.
And there's no way, I don't have anything that would let me look into her dreams.
Doesn't seem like it. If you, Robin, can find some sort of spell or some sort of ritual or something that you can do, we can make it happen. I'm not aware of it, though.
Trying to decide if Trill would wake her up in this moment or not.
I think your friends come in the room silently as Trill is considering this.
Yeah. So Trill has found the ruby. She's basically standing right next to Dorianna's bed. Everyone comes in to see Trill holding the ruby in one hand and bending over Dorianna at the same time. Trill looks up and sees everyone slowly walk in, and her eyes kind of go wide as she looks between Dorianna and the ruby in her hand.
Mag reaches the tongs out to take the ruby back again. And as the tongs click in place on the cut edges of the ruby, and she withdraws it from Trill's hand, Mag gives Trill an encouraging nod.
Dorianna!
Yeah. Oh.
It's time to wake up.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you see the Motley Man?
We were going on such adventures together.
The Motley Man?
Me and the Motley Man. We were flying through the sky.
What does his face look like?
He's kind. His face is... He's gentle. He's so friendly.
Is he human? Is he elf?
He's the Motley Man.
Does he wear a hat?
And some of our adventures he does.
Does he speak?
He does.
Does he fly a TARDIS?
Sure.
How
Fucking whatever, man.
wibbly wobbly is the time around him.
Okay, good. No, you're right.
Is it
That's
timey-wimey?
It's all of that dumb shit. Yeah.
Jackass. That's how we lose listeners.
Sorry. No, Doctor Who's great. I love it.
I'm absolutely baffled.
Let's just move forward. We're playing in like Blender time right now, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the evenings for the next 5 nights.
There's really nothing to be gained from like being with her and waking her up like mid. I guess we could wake her up mid dream next time and see if that. But there's nothing, absolutely nothing for having.
The ruby seems to find its way seems to have found its way back to her tonight. Is the conclusion you're able to draw?
God, this is.
Should
I'm
we
not
went to
drinking my
sleep.
vermouth. This is Groundhog Day all over again.
To
world peace?
So let's move forward in time. It's the next night. It's the 26th of Desnas. Mag again watches the ruby. Dorianna is sleeping in a bed with no pillows in it.
I've thrown the pillows in the hall.
The ruby disappears.
Same time-ish? Like it's always 1:15-ish?
No, this time it's around 2:30. Time
Oh.
seems to change.
Harder.
Trill sees the mattress flare to life as the Lange ruby is inside the mattress.
Oh, this is going to be expensive.
The next night, the bed is shoved against the wall. Dorianna is sleeping on the floor, a blanket wrapped around her. The Lange ruby appears wrapped up in the blanket. The next night, the blanket is gone. Dorianna is sleeping on the cold hardwood floor. The ruby appears in the ceiling above her. You chop a hole in the ceiling. The next night, Dorianna is asleep on the floor, a gaping hole in the ceiling that's in the floor. The next night, Dorianna is sleeping on a hammock, and she wakes up, the ruby tucked neatly under her head.
Why do you keep calling this to you?
And we'll pick up from there next time.
Ruby will not quit.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.